Going now from the United States to the global church, Pope Francis canonizes 7 saints, including Pope Paul VI. Some 70,000 faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square for the canonization mass this past Sunday. In his homily, Pope Francis called now St. Paul VI a prophet of a church turned outwards to care for the faraway poor. Pope Paul VI was elected Pope in 1963 when the sexual revolution was in full swing. He might be best known for his 1968 encyclical Humanae Vitae.
On June the 22nd, 1963, Paul VI delivered his first public message to the world. His words were well received by Protestants because he no longer described them as separated brethren, but called them by the sweet name of brothers. He never mentioned conversion or return to the fold. Although he spoke of Rome as a fatherly home, Paul VI assured them that the continuation of the Second Vatican Council would be his principal task. In his inaugural allocution given on September 29, 1963, beginning with the second session of the Vatican II, Paul VI masked his modernism when he declared, "The reform that which the Council aims is not an upheaval of the Church's present way of life, or a break with its essential or venerable elements in her tradition. Rather, it is an honouring of tradition, in the very act of stripping it of what is unworthy or defective, in order to make it genuine and fruitful." In his general audience of July 2nd, 1969, Montini declared, "If the whole world is changing, will not religion change as well? It is a new religion, the cult of man, in which divine revelation and supernatural are excluded. This is the religion of Freemasonry. Freemasonry informs us that there is only one true religion, and therefore a natural one, the cult of humanity." Dr. Albert Outler, a Methodist theologian and author who attended Vatican II for 4 years as a non-Catholic observer, brilliantly described Paul VI's devious work during Vatican II as Reformation style, Roman style. He declared, "Unlike Luther's drastic break with the medieval past, it is a Reformation which is often so subtle that it sometimes does not seem like change at all. It is a Reformation in which radical ideas blossom in traditional Latin garb, in which new ways are inevitably coupled with warnings against imprudent excess. It is a Reformation not of acts but of attitudes, whose distant goal is the ultimate reconciliation of the Church with other faiths in the modern world." On August 6, 1964, Paul VI issued the encyclical Ecclesiam Solum, His Church, a 15,000-word document on the mystery of the Church. In his writings, he chastises traditional Catholics who do not accept the changes, telling them that a spirit of rebellion and criticism is not in accord with charity. Paul VI told them to exercise the virtue of obedience. However, this is false obedience, because the fourth commandment obliges us all to refuse to obey a sinful order. Through the centuries, many sincere Catholics have been misled through false obedience to illegitimate authority. Long ago, Freemasons boasted, "We will destroy the Church by means of holy obedience." The 16 documents of Vatican II are filled with heresy, ecumenism, indifferentism, condiviality, modernism, and false religious liberty. Paul VI solemnly ratified these documents, for each concludes words with "we," by the apostate authority conferred on us by Christ, joined with the Venerable Fathers in approving decreeing and establishing these things. He was a Marxist and a modernist heretic. He officially approved and promulgated the new Mass and had substantial changes made to the sacraments of the Holy Eucharist, confirmation and extreme unction, rendering them invalid. It is quite clear to all who are willing to see that Paul VI could have never been a true pope. He automatically separated himself from the Catholic Church before he was elected, when he first taught heretical concepts and consistently continued to do so. Prior to his election, Montini publicly professed anti-Catholic doctrines, including modernism and ecumenism, thus making him incapable of the office of the papacy by divine law. Therefore, he was a false pope, having no authority and jurisdiction. Therefore, because his acts were null and void, Catholics were not obliged to follow him. After his election, the examples of Paul VI, explicit heresies, and numerous, especially regarding the holy sacrifice of the Mass, the liturgy, religious liberty, and ecumenism. He taught heresy and supported heretics. Anyone who honestly analyzes the situation truthfully and objectively will conclude that he was a false and illegitimate pope. The legacy of Paul VI proscribed the Trinitine Latin Mass. He eliminated several holy days of obligation. He formulated a new Mass and new sacraments. He treated with hostility the defenders of the faith. He lifted censures on Freemasonry, CDC Art 2335, allowed communion to be distributed in the hand. He abolished abstinence from meat on Fridays in 1996, created episcopal conferences with no definite limits. He permitted Orthodox and Protestants to receive the Eucharist. He downplayed devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary and the saints. His decree for mixed marriages did not require Catholics' baptism of children. This was later included in the 1983 Code of Canon Law. Refused to receive groups of traditional priests and laity, but happily received modernists, Freemasons, communists, leftists, and the enemies of the Church. Replaced the more traditional-minded figures in the Church with liberal modernists, pro-communists, and allied Freemasons. During his 15-year reign, more than 55,000 priests left the priesthood, including 30,000 were laceted. In addition, more than 50,000 nuns abandoned the religious life. He's responsible for propagating the charismatic renewal movement throughout the world under the direction of Cardinal Satanist. Former Grand Master of Paolo Gustastini, Roman Centre for the Grand Orient of Italy, in the Freemasonic magazine La Rivista Massonica, lamented the death of Paul VI. They said, "To us, it is the death of he who made the condemnation of Clement XII and his successors fall. That is, it is the first time in the history of modern Freemasonry that the head of the greatest Western religion dies not in a state of hostility with Freemasons. For the first time in history, the Freemasons can pay respect to the tomb of a pope without ambiguities or contradiction." Since the proclamation of the documents of Vatican II and the new Mass, many Catholics, including bishops, priests, religious, and laity, have refused to follow the heretical antipopes and be part of a new church. Catholics realize that a pope who proclamates heresy or is guilty of public manifest heresy when teaching the universal church is a false pope. Heretics are not members of the church.